Mrs. President, dear ministers, dear ambassadors, and dear Simi friends, αγαπητές φίλες και φίλοι, καλησπέρα σας. Let me welcome you to Greece, to the 24th International Symis Symposium. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank the region of Attica, and of course Grec Hotel, where we are now, for hosting this event and for their support. We are here in this beautiful spot. Just behind us is the Temple of Poseidon, overlooking us and overlooking the Aegean. And it's been overlooking the Aegean since the 5th century BC. In Greek mythology, Poseidon, brother of Zeus, was the god of the sea. Ancient Greeks, especially seamen, believed storms were a sign of Poseidon's wrath, and therefore the temple of Cape Sunium was a sacred place where sailors and generally the public population came to offer animal sacrifices and other gifts to appease the gods, to appease him and ask for his favor. So our presence here tonight is highly symbolic, as like sailors crossing the sea of history, we do feel the wrath of a war that has changed everything and is having consequences around the world, on the whole planet. But we're also here for our offerings to the gods, the ancient gods, hopefully not only to them, but to progressive thinking, viable solutions, solutions to counter the growing inequities, the backsliding of democracy, the exploitation of fear and uncertainty by authoritarian demagogues, the concentration of power helped by new technology, and the nationalistic rhetoric dividing a system of global cooperation and dividing multilateralism, undermining a sense of solidarity with fellow human beings, a sense of convivencia, or living together, much needed to deal with global crisis. The word krisi, or crisis, used in the overarching theme of today's symposium, in Greek language has, of course, a double meaning. It means a time of intense difficulty, of danger, but also a time when one must balance a situation and take a decision. And this is exactly where we are now. With the irrational invasion by Putin into Ukraine, peace has been threatened, not only in Ukraine, but in the broader region. And this is the time we show our full solidarity with the Ukrainian people. Furthermore, following consecutive crises, our democracies face unprecedented challenges. In Europe, we must become more self-reliant in energy, health, food, security, but not to isolate ourselves, but to gain strength and confidence in order to be able to serve humanity in a better way, and our peoples, of course. And to do so, go the way of a transition, a very difficult transition, but very important, vital for the world, transition to a green and sustainable planet. One that, of course, that is a just transition, a democratic one that guarantees citizen ownership of this transition, citizen participation in this major shift towards a new paradigm in our lives. One that is also a learning experience for all, for informed and active citizenship, which is a constant challenge for our democratic institutions. The extreme right and authoritarian regimes are using every modern technological innovation to concentrate power and undermine the foundations of our open and democratic societies. And they have seemed to be banding together also in some form of international cooperation to do so. They are undermining minority rights. Minority rights are the victim. Women's rights are the victim. All of us and our human rights are the victim. The recent decision of the U.S. Supreme Court on abortion rights is unluckily only one tragic example of what seems to be happening in many corners, even in our democratic world. But geopolitical games are also undermining our democratic European values and cohesion. The European Union must move to bring the Western Balkans into this family of values without further delay. And that will be one of our themes, and I welcome all our participants from the Western Balkan team. Starting, of course, with Albania and North Macedonia, who have done all their necessary homework. And Nicola was just reminding me that some years ago, I met him here where he was discussing then with the then Foreign Minister, Mr. Kodyaz, again under the Poseidon's temple, and luckily you did not have to jump off the table because you did succeed, so that was positive for our region. But in our region we have a history of looking for protectors, for big powers when we feel uncertain. But we also have a history, a tradition of great thinkers and revolutionaries who believed in a common, peaceful, democratic future for this region, without big brothers manipulating us, as the will of the people, our peoples, could embrace conviviality and diversity based on basic values of human rights and democracy. So Europe, the prospect of Europe, almost 20 years ago in 2003 in Thessaloniki, provided that this hope can become a reality. However, we have waited too long. But this culture of solidarity, of conviviality, respect for each other's dignity, is the culture we here in Simi provide. We have fostered it for many years. And I remember we have Miroslav here who has the difficult task of providing a dialogue and solutions for the dialogue between Pristina and Belgrade. Our second symposium was just after the war in Kosovo. And yet we were able to sit down in a sense of conviviality with many here, and then at that time, Albanians, Kosovars, Serbs, and many others from the Balkans, to discuss the difficult path to move forward. So many of us have built deep friendships over these years, and I'm very glad to see many old and new friends. And we have fostered a sense of solidarity during crises we have all gone through these past 20, 25 years. Personal crises, political crises, which have brought us together. And we've been able to help each other in these times. And we are a very diverse group, as you can see. Diverse group, but we are together in spirit and in understanding. An understanding that we have to build hope. Hope for a better future for our societies. And deconstructing the narrative of authoritarians who thrive on building or promoting or using our divisions. That is why we have chosen the theme for tonight's ceremony: culture, memory, identity, deconstructing populist and authoritarian perceptions. And we have some very inspirational figures with us, persons here, speakers. Claudia Roth, who is with us, Federal Minister of Culture of Germany. Welcome, Claudia. Zulfu Livaneli, the great composer and writer who has created important bridges of understanding between Greeks and Turks, and not only. Welcome, Zulfu. Miroslav Lajčák, EU Special Representative for the Western Balkans, and of course, as I said, the important task of solving the Pristina-Belgrade problem. Good luck to you and welcome. So I'll finish by inviting Claudia. Claudia, you have the floor. Thank you for being with us. Claudia Roth, Minister of Culture of the Federal Republic of Germany.